Hello everyone, welcome to a features and overview on a AiM EVO4S with a GS-data logger, and this is the Powerboat kit that's available on our website. So we'll go ahead and power on the unit. You can see it goes through its startup sequence with a user configurable splash screen here. This particular unit is optioned out with two LED bar graphs, one for a linear trim potentiometer that can sense engine trim, as you see here, and the value being displayed is the numeric value of the trim in a linear dimension. And you can see obviously the LED bar graph there changing. For engine height, for a 12-inch midsection on a racing powerboat, this sensor here can actually detect the engine height change here, and then that is getting displayed on this LED bar graph as well as numerically here on the screen. So connecting to Race Studio 3, we're able to kind of simulate some values here, but this particular unit is optioned out with these two LED bar graphs. Those are also available on our website. The EVO4S has the ability to read ECU data as well as analog RPM signal from a conventional carbureted type engine. It has 5 channel inputs here. This particular kit is optioned out with either a AiM 0 to 10 bar pressure sensor for water or fuel pressure, and then you can also alternatively option it out with a VDO, the 0 to 10 bar sensor. So channels 1 and 2 for this particular kit are monitoring fuel and water pressure. 3 and 4 are the engine trim angle and then the lift height on the engine. And then to monitor EGTs or thermocouple inputs, this particular unit is optioned out with a 2-port data hub as well as a CAN TC hub here, which allows you to input 4 additional thermocouples. So you can see here EGT for the left bank and the right bank of the engine. If I just start heating one of these up, you can see the right thermocouple starting to increase in temperature. This also has the GPS 08 module that comes with this EVO4S data logger, and then the connectivity to your computer is via a USB cable. So if we go ahead and simulate some inputs here, we can scroll through some of the screens by clicking next. So this is more of a diagnostic page that's showing all of the data, so we can see fuel pressure, water pressure, trim angle, lift angle, both EGTs for the left and right bank, the odometer, it's a brand new unit, the battery voltage that we're just plugged into the wall, the speed, we're indoors right now so we're not getting full antenna reception, although we do have 13 or 14 satellites that we're connected to, the altitude in feet, and then the positional accuracy here. And then once an RPM signal is detected, we can actually see the rolling time, the lap time based on all of the GPS track maps that are preloaded onto the device, as well as our best lap time for the session. So currently we are, scroll to the next screen here. It's another way to visualize the data. This is 8 different data items on one page. And one of these, this is kind of a max speed page here where you can see just the max speed. This one shows the speed in RPM in larger font. And this one will show the fuel pressure and the water pressure. So right now we have 2 green LEDs illuminated because the fuel pump isn't turned on. This is set up for a carbureted engine, so we'll simulate kind of a carbureted fuel pressure. We'll say that 6 psi will turn the fuel pump on. And we can let's say 0.5, so 7.3 psi here, and we'll simulate maybe 15 psi or so of water pressure. You can see that there. Okay, so now we'll simulate a RPM input and we'll log some data because that's triggering the logging session. So we can say 8,700 RPM, and we can see 4 of the 5 LED indicators for the RPM shift array at the top here illuminated, and you can see the bar graph displaying kind of the numeric value of the RPM. If we scroll to the page that displays the RPM directly, we can see we're at approximately 8,700 RPM. So we'll go back to the first page there. We can step through some warning lights. We'll remove, let's say if the fuel pressure drops slightly. So we'll go to approximately, I don't know, 1.5 pounds, and you can see now the alarm lights are changing, flashing green because the engine is running. It thinks the engine is running and the fuel pressure is low. So it's not only warning you to turn on the fuel pump, it's saying that this is dangerous because you're low on fuel pressure while the engine is running. So we'll remove the RPM signal here, and you can see that second stage of alarm go away. So you can do stage alarm profiles like this for things like EGT. So right now the EGTs are just ambient. If we force one of the EGTs on the left bank, let's say to go above the first stage alarm, we'll say 1130 degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit, you can see here the first stage goes on, and similarly for the right hand side we can do the same thing for the right hand bank. To trigger the second stage alarm above 150 degrees Fahrenheit, sorry, 1150 degrees Fahrenheit, and these are all user configurable. We can go, let's say, to 1160 degrees, and you can see that second stage turns red. Similarly for the other side, we can do the following, and then we'll go to the third stage alarm, which will actually flash both LEDs here on the left bank and say EGT on the left bank in danger. So that's the third stage of alarm exceeding 1175 degrees Fahrenheit. Similarly, we can do that on the right hand bank as well. So now we'll remove both of those alarms, and we shall turn the fuel pump back on to full force. Okay, and you can see none of the alarms are illuminated there. So we can see once again the trim angle is getting sensed here in a linear dimension as well as on the LED bar graph, and then we have the engine height as well, which we can simulate like this. Now if we want to review the data that we've collected, because we've simulated an RPM signal, if we go to memory, we can see some of the runs here. We've simulated an RPM signal. It was recording for 1 minute and 30 seconds. It didn't sense a lap because we weren't triggered a lap beacon based on the GPS signal, and we weren't close to any tracks because we're indoors. But you can see the max speed here. You can see the max RPM and the min RPM. So if we were actually driving around the track, you would be able to see all the lap times for that particular day, or that particular session, and then we can scroll through all the lap times here by clicking test and go to all the ones for that particular day. The other thing that we can do is configure some of the settings here for, let's say, the backlight. So we can change the color of the backlight to purple, red, green, yellow, blue, magenta, cyan, and white. We can also make it detect the ambient light settings for increasing the brightness. We can manually select tracks here in the track selection. We also have some user configurable counters, so we can have an odometer as well as an hour meter on a variety of different trips, let's say, so we can use it for various seasons or different engine combinations. We can configure the date time, and then we can configure the system info, or view the system info here. So that's showing all of the things that are connected here. If we go to net info, we have a TC hub and a GPS that are connected via the CAN hub. And we can see the serial number and the firmware version of each of the connected devices, so the EVO4S as well as the GS Dash. So this system is fairly optioned out. It comes with all of the sensors you see here. It's available on our website. In terms of how to analyze the data, The typical Ray Studio 3 software is how you can configure the device, and once again all the alarms and all of the sensor data is user configurable, which is nice, and it has flexible conditional alarms, so you can get more advanced if you'd like to for more specific applications. Ray Studio analysis is how you can actually view the data in more detail. Instead of just using the memory function here, you can look at the entire track map as well as graphs of engine RPM and all the different sensor responses, things like that. Once again, this is available on our website. If you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. Leave a comment in the comment section. Links in the description below. Please feel free, if you like videos like this, we can keep producing them. But in order to support us, we encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe. That way we know that you like these types of videos and we can continue making them. Thanks, and have a great day.